I'm Sarah Mitchell, 30, a data analyst in Denver, Colorado. My life was steady, a decent job, a small apartment morning runs until an email from the bank shattered everything. Ms. Mitchell, you're 3 months behind on your loan payments, the message read. $535,000. My heart stopped. I'd never borrowed a dime that big. I rent, I don't own. The documents showed my signature perfectly forged, tied to a glitzy nail salon in Cherry Creek. My sister Brittany's salon. My stomach churned as I stared at her address on the loan agreement. Then I found more credit cards, a personal loan, all in my name, all defaulted. Tonight is Mom's 60th birthday party, and in my bag is a police report that could tear our family apart. If you've ever been betrayed by someone you trusted, drop your story in the comments, hit subscribe, and stick around to see how I confronted the lies that broke our family. My family was close, or so I thought. My parents, Thomas and Linda Mitchell, live in a modest ranch-style house in Arvada, about 20 minutes from downtown. Dad, a retired warehouse manager, spends his days tinkering in the garage or watching Rockies games. Mom, still working as a bank teller, loves hosting family gatherings. Her Sunday brunches are legendary, complete with her famous blueberry pancakes. My younger brother, Ryan Mitchell, is a mechanical engineer, always on the road for work, but quick to text me dumb memes. Then there's my older sister, Brittany. At 34, she's the one who always stood out, confident, charming, the kind of person who lights up a room. Growing up, I idolized her. She was the cheerleader, the prom queen, the one who could talk her way out of anything. I was the shy kid who'd rather hide in the library than face a crowd. Brittany protected me back then, shutting down bullies with a single glare. I thought that bond would never break. As adults, our lives couldn't be more different. I'm single, focused on my career, my cats, my runs. Brittany married Derek Larson, a car salesman with a slick smile and a knack for closing deals. They live in a swanky condo in Cherry Creek, Denver's ritziest neighborhood, with their 2 kids, Ava and Noah. Brittany opened a nail salon and spa 2 years ago, Luxe Nails, she called it. The place screamed money, marble counters, gold accents, Instagram posts of clients sipping mimosas while getting manicures. She'd always been ambitious, chasing a life that looked like it belonged in a magazine. We'd meet for coffee every few weeks, and she'd nudge me to aim higher, invest in stocks, buy a condo, live a little. "You're too smart to stay in that tiny apartment forever, sis," she'd say, squeezing my hand. I brushed it off, figuring she meant well. Last year, Brittany threw a grand opening for Luxe Nails. The whole family showed up. Mom beaming, Dad awkward in a tie, Ryan sneaking extra appetizers. I walked through the salon, stunned by the chandeliers, the plush chairs, the scent of lavender in the air. Brittany gave me the tour, pointing out every detail, the imported tile, the custom lighting. "This is just the start," she said, her eyes gleaming. "We're going national someday." I felt a pang of envy, but mostly pride. My sister had done this. Derek hovered nearby, chatting up guests, his Rolex catching the light. I didn't think much of it then, but looking back, their lifestyle was a house of cards. The day everything changed was a Tuesday mid-morning. I was at my desk crunching numbers for a client report when an email from First National Bank popped into my inbox. The subject line read, "Urgent delinquent loan payments." I figured it was spam. I get those all the time, but something made me click. "Dear Ms. Sarah Mitchell," it began. "You are 3 months delinquent on your business loan of $535,000 for Luxe Nails, located at 2247 Cherry Creek North Drive." My coffee went cold in my hand. $535,000. I don't own a business. I don't even own a car. The email listed a string of missed payments, late fees, and a threat of legal action if I didn't respond within 10 days. I opened the attached documents, my pulse racing. There it was, my name, my social security number, my birth date. The loan was for Brittany's salon, her address plain as day. The signature at the bottom looked like mine, but it wasn't. I'd know my own handwriting anywhere, the way I cross my T's, the slight slant of my S's. This was a forgery, and a good one. I checked my credit monitoring app, something I only used once in a blue moon. My score, usually a solid 720, had tanked to 510. There were 3 credit cards I'd never opened, a personal loan for $20,000 and a line of credit all in my name, all maxed out. My head spun. This wasn't a mistake. Someone had stolen my identity, and every sign pointed to Brittany. I called the bank, my voice shaking. "This is Sarah Mitchell. I got an email about a loan I never took out." The representative, Greg Sullivan, sounded bored at first. "According to our records, Ms. Mitchell, you applied for this loan in February. We have your income listed at $180,000, annually credit score of 780 at the time." I nearly laughed. "I'm a data analyst, not a CEO. My credit's good, but not that good. I never signed anything." Greg paused, his tone shifting. "This could be fraud. You'll need to come in to review the paperwork. And Ms. Mitchell, I'd contact the police." I hung up, my hands trembling so badly I could barely hold the phone. Brittany's salon. Brittany's address. My sister, the one I trusted most, had done this to me. That email from the bank was like a bomb going off in my head. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't focus on anything but the words. $535,000, my name, Brittany's salon. I took 2 days off work, the first time I'd ever called in sick, and locked myself in my apartment, determined to figure out how my sister, the one person I trusted most, could do this to me. My cats Milo and Luna curled up beside me as I sat at my kitchen table, laptop open, papers spread out like a crime scene. I wasn't just angry, I was gutted, but I needed answers before I could face Brittany. First, I logged into my company's data analysis software. I don't normally use it for personal stuff, but it's great for cross-referencing records. I pulled up every financial alert tied to my name. The bank's loan was just the start. There were 3 credit cards with balances totaling $45,000, a personal loan for $20,000, and a line of credit for $15,000, all opened in the last 8 months, all in default. The statements showed purchases at high-end boutiques, restaurants, even a luxury spa in Aspen. I don't shop at boutiques. I don't vacation in Aspen. But Brittany does. My hands shook as I printed the reports, each one a nail in the coffin of our sisterhood. I called Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, my voice steady despite the panic clawing at my chest. The customer service rep at Equifax, a woman named Carla, sounded sympathetic but clinical. "Ms. Mitchell, your credit report shows significant activity over the past year. The loan for $535,000 is the largest, but these other accounts, they've tanked your score to 510. She paused, then added, "You need to file a fraud alert immediately and contact law enforcement." I thanked her, hung up, and stared at my phone. Law enforcement. That meant accusing Brittany, maybe sending her to jail. My sister, who taught me how to braid my hair, who stood up for me in middle school. Could I do that? Before I went that far, I needed more proof. I called the bank again and got Greg Sullivan, the manager who'd spoken to me before. "Ms. Mitchell, I've pulled the loan application," he said. "It lists your income as $180,000 with a credit score of 780. The application was submitted online, and we have digital signatures." I gripped the phone tighter. "Greg, I make half that, and I never applied for anything. Can you send me the documents?" He hesitated. "These are technically your copies, but given the situation, I'll email them." Be careful, this looks like sophisticated fraud. The email arrived 10 minutes later, and there it was. My name, my social security number, and a signature that mimicked mine, but missed the mark. The T's were too sharp, the S's too curved. I dug deeper, checking the email address tied to the loan account. It was sarahmitchell91@gmail.com, close to my real address, sarahmitchell19991@gmail.com, but off by 2 digits. A small detail easy to miss in verification, but deliberate. I felt sick. Only someone who knew me well could pull this off, someone who'd seen my ID, my pay stubs, my life. Brittany had been to my apartment countless times, rifling through my desk for borrowed pens or sticky notes. My file cabinet wasn't locked. I'd never thought I needed to protect myself from her. I needed an expert to confirm the forgery. Through a colleague's recommendation, I found Daniel Pierce, a handwriting analyst based in Boulder. I emailed him scans of the loan documents and samples of my real signature from my driver's license and work forms. 2 days later, he called. "Ms. Mitchell, these signatures are forged." Daniel said, his voice calm but firm. "The pressure points are off, and there's a slight hesitation in the loop signs of someone copying rather than writing naturally. I can testify to this if needed." I thanked him, my mind racing. Brittany's face flashed in my head, her smile, her laugh, her promises of, "We're in this together, sis." All lies. Then I stumbled on something that made my blood run cold. While cross-referencing the credit card statements, I noticed recurring charges to a marketing firm, Walsh Creative. That name rang a bell. Megan, Brittany's best friend since college, ran that firm. Megan was always at Brittany's events, snapping photos for Lux Nails' Instagram, hyping up the salon like it was her own. I checked her LinkedIn and found her listed as a brand consultant for the salon. My gut twisted. Was Megan involved? I pulled up the salon's financial records. Public filings are easy to access if you know where to look, and saw Megan's name on a contract for promotional services paid from an account tied to one of the fraudulent credit cards in my name. I called my friend Lisa, the only person I could trust with this. We met at a coffee shop in Lodo, away from my usual spots. Lisa, a claims adjuster at my firm, listened as I laid out everything: the loan, the cards, the forged signature, Megan's name. "Sarah, this is insane," she said, her eyes wide. "Brittany stole your identity to fund her failing salon, and Megan's in on it. You have to go to the police." I sipped my latte untouched until then. "I know, but it's Brittany, my sister. And Mom and Dad, they'll be crushed." Lisa leaned forward. "She crushed you first. She took $535,000 in your name. You can't let her walk away from this." Lisa was right, but I wasn't ready to file a report yet. I needed to know how deep this went. I spent the next 3 days digging through Brittany's social media, cross-referencing posts with the credit card charges. Her Instagram was a curated dream tropical vacations, designer bags, her kids in matching outfits. But the dates lined up. A $5,000 charge at a Maui resort matched a post from last summer, captioned, "Living our best life." Another charge, $2,000 at a Denver jewelry store, matched a photo of Brittany's new necklace. The salon's account showed similar patterns, posts about expansion plans, while the loan payments went unpaid. I found a private message between Brittany and Megan, accidentally left public in a comment thread. "We need to keep the numbers quiet until the new location opens. Numbers. My numbers." By the end of the week, I had a folder of evidence: bank statements, credit reports, Daniel's analysis, screenshots of Brittany's posts, and Megan's contract. It was airtight, but it felt like a death sentence. I sat in my apartment staring at the folder, Milo purring in my lap. Brittany had built her dream on my ruin: $535,000 of debt, a trashed credit score, a future I'd have to fight to reclaim. I thought about confronting her privately, giving her a chance to explain. Maybe it was a mistake, a mix-up. But the email address, the signature, Megan's name, it was no accident. My sister had betrayed me, and Megan had helped her. Mom's birthday party was in 2 days. I'd bring the folder, and Brittany would have to face the truth in front of everyone. Mom's 60th birthday party was supposed to be a celebration: balloons, a 3-tiered cake, a backyard strung with fairy lights. But I stood outside my parents' Arvada home, clutching a manila folder that felt heavier than a brick. Inside were the bank statements, credit reports, Daniel Pierce's handwriting analysis, and screenshots tying Brittany and Megan Walsh to the $535,000 loan in my name. My heart pounded as I rehearsed what I'd say, determined to stay calm to let the evidence speak. Brittany had stolen my identity, trashed my credit, and built her dream salon on my ruin. Tonight, she'd face the truth in front of everyone. I took a deep breath and rang the doorbell. Mom Linda Mitchell opened the door, her face glowing with excitement. At 59, she still had a youthful spark, her graying hair swept into a neat bun, her dress of vibrant blue. "Sarah, you're here," she said, pulling me into a hug. "You look so serious. Everything okay at work?" I forced a smile, my stomach twisting. "Just tired, Mom. Happy birthday." She waved off my concern, ushering me into the backyard where Dad Thomas Mitchell was manning the grill, his apron stained with barbecue sauce. He grinned and waved a spatula. "There's my girl, grab a soda, we're eating soon." The backyard was buzzing. Ryan, my brother, was chasing Brittany's kids Ava and Noah around a bounce house. Brittany Larson, my sister, stood near the dessert table, radiant in a cream silk dress, her blonde hair cascading in perfect waves. She was laughing with Megan Walsh, her best friend, who wore a flashy red jumpsuit and held a glass of rosé. Derek Larson, Brittany's husband, was deep in conversation with a neighbor, his car salesman charm on full display. Everything looked so normal, so happy, like a family who had it all together. But I knew better. I mingled for a bit, making small talk with Mom's coworkers, my hands never leaving the folder in my bag. Brittany caught my eye and sauntered over, her smile wide. "Sarah, you made it. I was just telling Megan you should come by the salon, free manicure, sis, my treat." The word sis stung, a reminder of the trust she'd shattered. I knotted my throat tight. Maybe Brittany. She didn't seem to notice my coldness, turning to Megan. "Doesn't Sarah have the best skin? You should hook her up with your skincare line." Megan grinned, oblivious. "Totally, girl. Let's make it happen." Dinner was served, grilled chicken, potato salad, Mom's favorite lemon cake waiting on the side. The table was packed with family and friends, laughter filling the air. Ryan sat next to me, nudging my arm. "You're quiet tonight, Sarah." "Rough week." I glanced at Brittany across the table, her eyes sparkling as she told a story about a celebrity client at Luxe Nails. "You could say that," I muttered, my fingers brushing the folder under my chair. Mom raised her glass for a toast. "To family," she said, her voice warm. "To being together." Everyone cheered, but I couldn't lift my glass. Not yet. As the plates were cleared, I knew it was time. My heart hammered, but I stood, my voice steady. "I need to say something to all of you." The backyard went quiet, even Ava and Noah pausing their game. Brittany's smile faltered, her eyes flicking to Derek, then back to me. Mom's forehead creased. "Sarah, honey, what's wrong?" I pulled the folder from my bag and set it on the table, the thud louder than I expected. "This is a police report. 2 weeks ago, I got an email from First National Bank about a $535,000 loan I never took out for Luxe Nails, Brittany's salon." A gasp rippled through the table. Mom's hand flew to her mouth. Dad's face hardened, his spatula clattering to the ground. Brittany froze, her wine glass halfway to her lips. "What are you talking about?" she said, her voice high and brittle. I opened the folder, sliding it toward her. "Open it, Brittany." She didn't move. Derek leaned forward, his jaw tight. "Sarah, maybe we should talk about this privately." I ignored him, my eyes locked on my sister. "It's my name on the loan, my social security number, my forged signature. 3 credit cards, a personal loan, a line of credit, all in my name, all maxed out. For your salon." Megan shifted uncomfortably, her rosé glass now abandoned. Ryan's eyes widened, darting between me and Brittany. "Sarah, are you sure?" he asked. I nodded, pulling out the handwriting analysis. Daniel Pierce, an expert, confirmed the signatures are forged. The loan application used an email 1 digit off from mine, Sarah, Mitchell 91, not 1991. And Megan, your marketing firm's name is on the statements paid with my stolen credit. Megan's face drained of color. "Sarah, I didn't..." She stammered, but Brittany cut her off. This is ridiculous. It's a bank error. A mix-up. You're blowing this out of proportion. Dad's voice boomed a rare edge to it. Brittany, sit down and explain. Now. She sank back into her chair, her confident facade cracking. I spread the papers across the table, bank statements, screenshots, Megan's contract. You used my identity to fund Lux Nails, I said, my voice shaking but firm. You and Megan. The salon was failing and you threw me under the bus to save it. Brittany's eyes darted to the papers, then to me. For a moment I thought she'd deny it again. Then her shoulders slumped and she buried her face in her hands. We were drowning. She whispered, her voice barely audible. The salon wasn't pulling in enough. Derek's commissions dried up. We couldn't lose everything, the condo, the kids' school, our life. It was supposed to be temporary. We'd refinance once the new location opened. Derek shook his head, his face red. I told you, Brittany, this was a bad idea. I said we'd find another way. Megan spoke up, her voice trembling. I only helped with the marketing, I didn't know about the loan. Sarah, I swear. But the contract in my folder said otherwise. Mom started to cry, her napkin pressed to her face. Brittany, how could you do this to your sister? Dad's hands shook as he gripped the table. You stole from Sarah. You put her future at risk for your salon. Brittany's head snapped up, a flash of defiance in her eyes. You don't get it. I did it for us, for the family. Sarah's fine. She's got her little job, her little life. She wasn't even using her credit. Her words cut deep like a knife twisting in my chest. My little life, I said, my voice breaking. You took $535,000 in my name. You ruined my credit. You betrayed me. Ryan stood his chair, scraping the ground. Brittany, that's enough. You don't get to justify this. Mom reached for my hand, her tears falling faster. Sarah, honey, we can fix this quietly. She's your sister. Think about Ava and Noah. They need their mom. Dad nodded, his voice soft but desperate. Let's keep this in the family, Sarah. We'll figure it out. I pulled my hand away, my resolve hardening. No, Mom. She made her choice. She doesn't get to hide behind family now. Brittany's eyes met mine, pleading. Sarah, I'm sorry. I was desperate. I'll pay it back, I promise. But I'd seen the statements, the unpaid loans, the Instagram posts flaunting her lifestyle while I drowned in her debt. You were going to let me take the fall? I said, my voice steady now. The police know everything. They're investigating you and Megan. Megan gasped, her hand flying to her chest. Me, Sarah, I didn't sign anything. But the evidence was clear and her panic betrayed her. As the party broke apart, guests slipping away awkwardly, Mom pulled me aside. Sarah, please, don't destroy her life. She made a mistake. I looked at her. My mother, who'd always been my rock, now begging me to protect the person who'd hurt me most. Mom, she destroyed my life first. I'm not staying quiet. I grabbed my folder and walked to my car, the fairy lights dimming behind me. The family I'd known was gone, and tomorrow the police would take the next step. The morning after Mom's birthday party, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing, texts from cousins, voicemails from neighbors, even a message from a high school friend I hadn't spoken to in years. Word had spread fast, and by noon, the Denver Post ran a headline, "Local salon owner and marketing consultant charged in identity theft scheme." Brittany Larson and Megan Walsh had been arrested at Brittany's Cherry Creek condo, cuffed in front of Ava and Noah, who were now staying with Mom and Dad. The article called me the victim, Sarah Mitchell, though. Thankfully, it didn't splash my name across the front page. Still, anyone who knew us could connect the dots. My sister had stolen my identity, racked up $535,000 in debt, and dragged her best friend into the mess. Now the world knew. I drove to the Denver Police Department's Financial Crimes Unit the next day, my folder of evidence tucked under my arm. The office was sterile, fluorescent lights, gray carpet, a faint smell of coffee. Detective Karen Foster, a woman in her late 40s with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor, met me in a small interview room. "Ms. Mitchell, I've reviewed your report," she said, flipping through my papers. "The evidence is solid: forged signatures, fraudulent accounts, and digital records tracing back to your sister's IP address." She leaned forward. "We also found emails between Brittany and Megan discussing how to manage the loan payments. Megan wasn't just a bystander, she helped cover it up." My stomach churned. Megan, who'd danced at my college graduation, who'd called me Han at Brittany's events, was complicit. Karen explained the charges: identity theft, fraud, and conspiracy for both Brittany and Megan. "Your sister could face up to 3 years in prison," she said. "Megan's looking at less, maybe 18 months, depending on her cooperation. The DA is building a strong case, but I need to ask, are you prepared for this? Pressing charges against family isn't easy." I thought of Brittany's face at the party, her defiance melting into desperation, her apology that felt hollow. I thought of Ava and Noah, innocent in all this. "I don't have a choice," I said, my voice steady. "She took everything from me: my credit, my trust. I can't let her walk away." Karen nodded. "We'll move forward discreetly, but this will be public record. Be ready for that." The arrests hit our family like a wrecking ball. Mom called me that evening, her voice trembling. "Sarah, they took Brittany away in handcuffs. Ava saw it. She's been crying all day." "Can't you talk to the police? Maybe they can reduce the charges." I gripped my phone, pacing my apartment. "Mom, she stole $535,000 in my name. She planned to let me drown in her debt. I can't just fix this for her." Mom's sobs crackled through the line. "She's your sister, Sarah. We raised you to stick together." "What about the kids?" I felt a pang of guilt, but Lisa's words from the coffee shop echoed in my head. "Brittany chose this, not me." Dad was quieter but no less desperate. He showed up at my apartment the next morning, his eyes bloodshot, his usual Rocky's cap missing. "Sarah, I know what Brittany did was wrong," he said, standing in my doorway. "But prison, that'll destroy her. She's already lost the salon, the bank's seizing it. Isn't that enough?" I shook my head, my throat tight. "Dad, she didn't just take money. She took my future. I'm fighting to clear my name, to fix my credit. She didn't care about me." He looked down, his shoulders sagging. "We just want our family back together," he whispered before leaving. Ryan was the only one who didn't ask me to back down. He called from a work trip in Phoenix, his voice thick with anger. "Sarah, I'm with you," he said. "What Brittany did, it's unforgivable. I'll testify if you need me to." His support felt like a lifeline, a reminder that not everyone in my family had turned their back on me. Still, the pressure from Mom and Dad gnawed at me. Every time I saw Ava's toys at their house or heard Noah's voice in the background of Mom's calls, my resolve wavered. Could I really send their mom to prison? But then I'd open my credit report, see the $535,000 loan still haunting my name, and remember, Brittany hadn't hesitated to ruin me. I started working with the bank to clear the fraudulent accounts, a grueling process of phone calls, notarized letters, and endless paperwork. Greg Sullivan, the bank manager, was helpful but blunt. "You're lucky you caught this early, Ms. Mitchell," he said during one meeting. "With a police report, we can flag the accounts as fraud, but it'll take months to resolve. Your credit's going to be a mess for a while." My score was creeping up from 510 to 550, but every loan application, every apartment lease would be a battle for years. I felt like I was clawing my way out of a hole Brittany had dug. To cope, I started seeing Dr. Rachel Bennett, a therapist recommended by Lisa. Her office was cozy with soft lighting and a worn leather couch. "Family betrayal cuts deep," Rachel said during our first session, her voice calm but direct. "It's not just about the money, it's about trust. You're allowed to feel angry, Sarah, but you're also allowed to grieve." I hadn't realized how much I was grieving, not just for my credit score, but for the sister I thought I had, the family I thought we were. Rachel helped me process the guilt, the rage, the moments when I wondered if I should have stayed quiet to keep the peace. The media didn't help. Local blogs picked up the story painting Brittany as a desperate entrepreneur and Megan as her misguided sidekick. Cherry Creek salon scandal became a trending topic on Denver's X posts, with strangers debating whether I was heartless for pressing charges. A distant cousin texted Sarah, "Are you sure about this? Brittany's always been good to you." I turned off my phone, sick of defending myself. Lisa dragged me to a dive bar one night, forcing me to take a break. "You're not the villain here," she said over a beer. "Brittany and Megan made their choices. You're just holding them accountable." She was right. But it didn't make the family dinners I skipped, or Mom's tearful voicemails, any easier. A week after the arrests, Detective Karen called with an update. "We've got more evidence," she said. "Brittany's laptop had a spreadsheet tracking the fraudulent accounts she was planning to file bankruptcy in your name to dodge the debts." My blood ran cold. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment mistake, it was calculated. Megan's emails showed she'd advised Brittany on how to spin the salon's finances to investors using my stolen credit to keep up appearances. "The DA's pushing for maximum penalties," Karen added. "You did the right thing, Sarah." But doing the right thing didn't feel good. I sat in my apartment, Milo and Luna curled up beside me, staring at a photo from last Christmas. Me, Brittany, Ryan, Mom and Dad all smiling around a tree. That family was gone now, replaced by court dates and fractured trust. Mom's birthday had been the breaking point, and as the legal wheels turned, I braced myself for what came next. A courtroom, a sister behind bars, and a family I wasn't sure I could ever put back together. 9 months after Mom's birthday party, I stood in a Denver courtroom watching Brittany take a plea deal. She looked different, thinner, her blonde hair pulled back in a plain ponytail, her designer dresses replaced by a gray blazer. Megan sat beside her, pale and silent, her usual confidence gone. The judge's voice was steady. "Brittany Larson, you have pleaded guilty to identity theft, fraud, and conspiracy. You are sentenced to 20 months in federal prison, followed by 3 years of supervised release." Megan got 12 months, her role smaller, but still damning. They were ordered to pay restitution, $535,000, plus the other debts, though I knew I'd likely never see it all. As Brittany was led away, her eyes met mine, a flicker of something, regret maybe, but I looked away. I wasn't ready to forgive, not yet. The legal battle was over, but the fallout lingered. My credit score had clawed its way back to 620, a small victory after months of fighting with banks and credit agencies. Greg Sullivan at First National helped clear the fraudulent loan, but the process was a slog, endless forms, calls, notarized letters. Every step reminded me of Brittany's betrayal, the $535,000 weight she'd dropped on my life. I'd moved to a new apartment in Lodo, a smaller place, with a locked mailbox and a security system. My cats, Milo and Luna, adjusted quickly, sprawling across the new couch like nothing had changed. But I had. I checked my credit weekly, kept my files in a safe, and never left my ID lying around. Trust didn't come easy anymore. My sessions with Dr. Rachel Bennett became my anchor. "Betrayal rewires how you see the world," she said one afternoon, her office warm with sunlight. "You're not broken, Sarah, you're adapting." We talked through the guilt for pressing charges for Ava and Noah, for the family I couldn't save. We talked through the anger, the grief for the sister I'd lost long before the courtroom. Rachel helped me see that protecting myself wasn't selfish, it was survival. I started running again, my morning jogs along Cherry Creek Trail, a way to clear my head. I'd pass Lux Nails, now shuttered, a for lease sign taped to the window. It didn't hurt as much anymore, just a reminder of a chapter I was closing. My relationship with Mom and Dad stayed strained. They visited Brittany in prison, bringing Ava and Noah to see her, but rarely mentioned it to me. Our Sunday brunches stopped, replaced by awkward phone calls where we avoided the elephant in the room. Mom tried once over coffee at a downtown cafe. "Sarah, Brittany's changed," she said, her eyes tired. "She's taking classes, helping other inmates. Can't you write to her?" I stirred my latte, my chest tight. Mom, she planned to bankrupt me. I'm glad she's trying, but I'm not ready. Mom nodded, but I saw the disappointment in her face. Dad was quieter, but I caught him watching me at Ryan's birthday dinner, a flicker of pride in his eyes. You're strong, Sarah, he said later, his voice low. Stronger than I knew. It wasn't an apology, but it was enough for now. Ryan was my rock. He'd moved back to Denver for a new job, and we'd grab beers at a Lodo brewery every week. Brittany messed up Sarah, but you didn't break, he said one night, clinking his glass against mine. I'm proud of you. His words carried me through the dark days, the ones where I questioned everything. Ryan didn't push me to forgive or forget, he just listened, and that was more than I could ask for. A year after the arrests, I found something unexpected: purpose. Lisa, my friend, connected me with a nonprofit Colorado fraud recovery network that helped identity theft victims navigate the system. I started volunteering, using my data analyst skills to untangle cases like mine. At their monthly meetings, I met people whose stories echoed my own: a teacher whose brother opened credit cards in her name, a retiree scammed by a cousin. You get it. One woman told me after a session, her eyes teary. You know what it's like to lose trust. I knotted my throat tight. Helping them felt like reclaiming a piece of myself, turning my pain into something that mattered. One evening, after a long day at the nonprofit, I got a letter from Brittany. It wasn't like her earlier ones, full of excuses or pleas. Sarah, she wrote. I've been working with a counselor here. I understand now, not just that I hurt you, but how. I stole your security, your trust, your belief in me as your sister. I can't undo it, but I'm trying to be better for Ava, Noah, and maybe someday for you. I don't expect a reply. I just needed you to know. I read it 3 times. Milo purring in my lap, and set it aside. It was the first time her words felt real, but forgiveness was still out of reach. A few days later, my phone lit up with a text from Ryan. Hey Sarah, Ava, and Noah, miss you. Wanna come over this weekend? Just us, pizza, maybe a board game. No pressure. I stared at the screen, my thumb hovering. Ava and Noah weren't their mom, they didn't deserve to lose their aunt too. But seeing them meant facing mom and dad, maybe even talking about Brittany. I thought of Rachel's words. Healing isn't a destination, it's a process. Maybe this was a step not toward forgiveness, but toward something new. I haven't decided if I'll go to Ryan's yet. Some days I feel ready to rebuild, to set boundaries, and let my family back in piece by piece. Other days the betrayal feels raw, like a wound that hasn't healed. I've learned to live with both the strength and the scars. Brittany took $535,000 in my name, but she couldn't take my resilience. I'm still writing my story, figuring out what family means when trust is broken. I don't know if I'll ever sit across from Brittany again, but I know I'll keep moving forward, one step at a time.